Small town, East Texas. Got an 11 a.m. call time. Just had breakfast at the local diner. And I'm just doing everything I can to get prepped before we roll up to this house. We're shooting interviews and then a bunch of B-roll, happy family in their new home, veteran family. So I want to minimize our impact loading in, setting up, since we're guests in this home. So got a local sound person. It's going to run my kit, well, local out of Dallas. Still a 2-hour drive in. So I got the boom pole assembled, hypercardioid. So yes, my audio kit is so basic. I'm realizing now that I'm in Texas, a little different than California in terms of easy access to crew and equipment, and I'm gonna have to step up my audio game. I think that's gonna be my my big expense, business expense for the second half of 2021 is I'm gonna invest in a sound devices mixer and 2 Electros. Been chatting with one of my main sound people back in California, and he's been guiding me on what kit to buy. I'll talk about that when I'm hanging out at the hotel. Anyway, for today, I'm gonna run my old analog PSC M4, and I have modified this M4 to run on gold mount batteries. That way I don't have to carry those, they call NP1s, I think. It's been so long, they're like chocolate bar batteries. And then I have a voltage regulator in that factory battery slot, so that I'm sending through auxiliary power input, external power, a regulated 12 volts, since these guys output higher voltage. Then I got my snake. I call this a beta snake, but that's from the Betacam days. I don't even know what the proper term is, but 2-channel with a headphone return. I'm running a Rode Wireless Go. I think these are about 2 years old, and as I talked about in a previous video, the batteries are starting to fail on them, and they're internal and not really serviceable. So yeah, I think it's time. I've purchased the Sennheiser, I think it was the G2 series, then the G3 series, the Sony UHF equivalents, and now these Rhodes. And if I tally up the cost of each of those things over the years, I could have just bought Electros, although the frequency has changed since the first set of wires I bought. So anyway, I don't know, I'd be buying regardless. And then I got moleskin scissors, a single lavalier. They're just single person interviews with the little Rode Invisalav. These are just those Rode lavs. Yeah, they sound okay. I much prefer my boom, but when I get those Electros, I'm going to invest in the Stankins. I'm so spoiled, just usually have people with this stuff. But anyway, this job, just kind of the way the budget shook out, gotta use my kit. Then I got my boom pole on a kit stand ready to go, fishing rod holder, and I don't remember if I already showed you, hypercardioid. And then should we need it, I don't think we will, I do have a shotgun and a furry for outdoors. But the 2 cameras prepped. Here is, this is gonna be the slider cam. So we're running a wireless follow focus. I have a Bartek digital old school. And then a Paralinx SDI transmitter. And then we'll just run the internal mics on this camera for reference, and we'll timecode jam it. That way this thing is totally wireless with freedom to move on the slider. This should probably be an 85mm prime. And then here is the primary cam angle. This didn't ride in this position. I actually had it buckled in the passenger seat, but just picked up this little small rig map box, my Arri FF5 follow focus, donut, and this will just be BNC tethered to the monitor. Guess that's gonna go on the passenger seat. I just hid it back here while I was having breakfast. Shoot the new rig. Now I got full on van envy.
I know it.
Seems sexy. I think they made the emblem even bigger.
I think they did. It's like a full 6 inches.
All right, standard 2-camera interview. Closer shot is the profile on the slider. And it's been a little while, but I think this was the first shoot with the two FX9s with two PL adapters and red primes on both cameras. It's our primary angle. We're in a house looking at the kitchen in the background. You can see the wide and the close. We spent a little time dressing the background and working with what was available on site. Key lighting with the Gemini. And audio, same thing, standard interview. Got a cardioid mic on a boom pole, plus a lav. Got one of my newer lights armed out on a C-stand for a backlight. That's a Texas-sized water bottle.
Yeah, that's when you're serious about your hydration.
So Ryan, operating the B cam on the slider here, he was just raving about how much he loves my speed rail slider. That's some sarcasm. No, he owns a Dana doll. He brought up some good points. If you spend multiple days sliding back and forth, it's a bad posture because you got to kind of lean over the camera and then you're tweaking your lower back and it does get tiring. And if you sit, you don't really have a good place for your feet. You got to kind of put them inside the track and then make sure you don't run over them. All of which gets solved with a Dana dolly. So we're running the Bartech Engineering digital follow focus, and I see the website's no longer up, so I think Jim finally retired, and that means no more direct support, but the manuals are still available online. I've been battling this frequency interference issue where the focus will get kind of jumpy. And I thought maybe it's just a spectrum change. This is 900 megahertz, and it looks like 5G steps into some of the frequencies. You can see on the receiver there's a little rotary dial bottom left, and you can select, I forget now, I think it's 9 or 12 different frequencies. And some of the lower ones do look like they step on 5G a bit. So I thought that was the cause of our intermittent issue. But on day 2, we figured out if we moved the receiver further away from the Paralinx transmitter, which is Wi-Fi based, we didn't have that problem. A second theory is maybe one of the antennas is damaged, which is entirely possible. I've had this equipment for many years and both items have been dropped a few times. So I get that on the list of things to hunt down, 900 megahertz antennas that are the right thread size. So for this shoot, we were one of multiple crews shooting in different cities. So the producer, based in New York City, put together a standard package list for each market. Actually, I believe it originally called for FX9s, but that was the B cam with a camera system pulling focus. I'm now so confident with these FX9s and their autofocus that I actually prefer now to just shoot in face tracking auto. We don't have to deal with that in California.
Right. Yeah. Maybe a nap in the morning. Welcome to the life.
Yeah.
You guys have transferred the home to us, so we own it. So
Oh, no,
we're ready
one of you texts. Look at that ant.
a family where my
Look at that guy.
ready, and I'm not like, we have that.
He's cleaning his whiskers.
The big thing.
We were scheduled to break for lunch, but we were already set up for an exterior and it looked like rain was coming. So I tried to squeeze that in before lunch and it didn't work out. It started dumping rain. Production day 2, which was actually day 3, we had a day off. I just hung out in a hotel, but downtown Dallas in a high rise. Had to get through security to get up there, so I tried to load in one trip. Forgot one of the map boxes, so made it work with some tape around the lens to control flare. And I'm finding with these Amazon PL adapters, same issue as I've experienced with other PL adapters. When I combine them with these red primes, they're much more susceptible to like a ghosting flare that milks out the image. That if I mount these lenses on a native PL camera, I don't experience any of those flaring issues. In that case, really the only thing these lenses do, they're just sharp and kind of lack any character. They just have this weird rainbow flare, which I think is from the OLPF filter. With that said, I've owned these lenses since 2010, originally with a partner, and then I bought them out. But they've been great for me. You know, when I bought them, the only options that were in the affordable lens class, like I think I spent about 24 grand. It was these or the Zeiss CP2s, and at the time the CP2s, they didn't have a full set available, and the lenses that were available, the different focal lengths had different minimum apertures. At the time I thought consistent aperture throughout the full set had more value for me, and I also felt like these lenses were just a little bit sharper wide open versus the version 1 CP2s. As a DP that owns your own kit, they've been a good investment. You know, no one ever requests them, and they're kind of a hard sell when someone asks for a different set of primes. And when I was back in California, it was always easy to source specific lenses for specific projects. Here in Texas, especially South Texas, it's a little bit more of a challenge. So we jumped outside on the gimbal with the Pocket 6K, shot a bunch of high-speed cutaways, B-roll. This was a great shot, actually worked out nicely. The weather was cooperating, low angle, looking up at the building with our hero in the foreground. And we also went up to the top floor, kind of atrium penthouse suite, which I think is currently vacant, or it's just a lounge in the building. So we were able to get some shots up there before security caught on what we were up to. All right, next few shoots I didn't document for a couple of different reasons. Just wasn't friendly to do so, and then I just wasn't feeling it on the one after that. So I'm not sure what's going to be up next. Let me know what you're thinking in the comments below. Thanks for watching.